Alrighty, what's going on, guys? We got a special guest today, Coach Jon Basti. Coach Basti is the head coach at Sacred Heart University, just up the road from us, and also an Eclipse coach. Last year, he was coaching the U13 national team out in Denver to the World Series. There's the hat from last year. And this year, he is the head coach of the 2021 team. Coach Basti, how you doing?
Pretty good. Don't let Jamie hear you say that I'm the head coach of that team, though, because I might lose my job like that. So.
Yeah, there you go. We really appreciate you coming on. I think it's going to be great to, hear from a college coach and let our, not only our youth guys, but our high school guys, hear some insight from a college coach in the area, all about different stuff. We're going to talk about some development, some recruiting stuff, and also about you as a coach. So we'll start right there is, kind of give us a little background on yourself and how you wound up at Sacred Heart University and what your path was like to get there.
Well, first of all, Coach Kashansky, thank you for having me. Like this is one of the positive things about this whole situation we're dealing with now is we get to do stuff like this, and being allowed to do this over the last couple of weeks. It's probably something when it comes to my job that I look the most forward to now is being able to talk to people like you and some kids, some of our Eclipse guys. And I say our Eclipse guys because I truly feel like, with a son playing in the program and another son who's very involved, he's not actually playing in the program, but he's very involved in the program. And, we are part of Eclipse. We're an Eclipse family, and we're very proud of that. And also, being part of the community and the family I have at Sacred Heart, I'm very lucky to be there. And I think the way that happened was not just by, it was right place at the right time, and being able to make decisions, and regardless of what happens with the decision, knowing that you're making decisions for the right reasons. And while you're making those decisions, as your career moves forward, learning from the people that you come across. And really building those relationships from stop to stop, from job to job, from meeting to meeting. Those relationships are what bring you through to the next level of your life. Never mind the next level of your profession, but of your life. And I'm lucky enough to say that I've made some pretty awesome relationships through my career and through my life that have kind of helped me get to where I am today. And a lot of them are lacrosse related, and a lot of them are not. A lot of them have nothing to do with lacrosse, and all those opportunities and all those relationships I've made, I've tried very hard to learn something from all of those encounters and to get all those experiences and build all those experiences together and mesh them so I can take something out of them. And in every individual I've met, whether it's coaching or it's just kind of in my daily life and being a dad or being basically an educator, you always try to pick from those people. You always try to learn something from each individual person, whether it's good or bad, positive or negative. And that's how you can form your own identity. Not by trying to be those people or be like those people, but you can emulate those people, and you can look up to those people, and you can be like, I want to be like that person in a way where I live my life to the same standard that they do, but on my own terms. And so something I've learned, lucky enough, a recent acquaintance I made during the pandemic, or the insanity that we're in the middle of right now. I hate that word pandemic. I feel like I'm in a movie. It's like Brad Pitt's gonna come through my door and be like, "We got to get out of here to the roof," And so Anish Shah is somebody that I was able recently to come an acquaintance with, and he talked to our program a couple of weeks ago. And something he said that really kind of resonated with me is, and it's something that it's kind of funny that he brought it up, because it's something we've been talking to our guys about since April, is being your best self. And, there's so many people that say that, but here's a guy who I learned from that was like, he learned from all these people that were big time people in his business. And he was like, I don't want to be that person. I kind of want to be like that person, but I want to be my own version of that person. And so being his best self and learning from those individuals and kind of formulating his own identity from all the acquaintances that he's made and then blowing it up. Like, for my identity is this. This is what I learned from these people. I'm going to take from it and then I'm going to explode it. And I'm going to use it to become my own best person. And, you know, I look at the people I've come across from my time originally at Sacred Heart, or before that, when I was a volunteer student assistant after I blew. So I don't know if you knew this, but at my sophomore year, I blew my knee out and my career ended. Like, my career ended, like, it was done. And so I was lucky enough to be able to be offered a student assistant position. And I was able to meet Eric Fekina. And, you know, I worked with Ted Spencer, who was our head coach at Fairfield when I played there at the time. And so Feck and I became best friends. And then, you know, then I moved to Sacred Heart, and I ended up meeting Tom Mariano, and working with Tom Mariano, and I became friends with Tommy. And then that kind of helped me become friends with Daryl Delia, Double D, and Timmy McEntee. And then that kind of made me become friends with a couple other people, because I always hung out with those guys. And then I met people like JP Brazel. I met Chris Miller, who's now assistant coach at Villanova. And then from there, I went to Eastern Connecticut and had 2 very successful years on the field, off the field, nightmare. I was not ready for that job. And that's what I learned from that job is coaching is not just about drawing man up plays. Like, being a head coach is like, it's crazy, right? And so there's so many things that you have to do that you don't even realize. And so, like, my time of not being successful on the field and winning 2 championships and going to 2 NCAA tournaments was awesome. But my time off the field showed me that I wasn't ready for this, that I needed to reset my life and learn a lot more. And so then I got back to that. But while I was there, I met guys like a lot of D3 guys, a lot of the guys from Western New England and from Springfield and that whole crew. And so then I kind of moved on. I went back to Fairfield, and then I got in because I worked so much in the summer running camps and working camps. I met Dave Metzbauer, who's the associate head coach at Princeton. And then because of him, I became tight with Coach Tierney and Greg Raymond, who's now head coach at Hobart. You know, and that whole crew, I started to really hang out with a lot. And I started spending a lot of time with those people. And, you know, I got back in touch with Double, and I got back in touch with Coach Spencer and all those people. And that kind of set me that way. And then I met all the guys that I'm tight with now from working 205, because we spent 10 days every summer together in the same dorm room. And, you know, those relationships helped me move to Lafayette. And then the relationships I made with Coach Mangan, and I met Coach Doctor when I was there. We lived together, we worked together, and hooking up with Terry and his crew of all those Springfield guys. And because of him, I got to know Andy Shea really well, and Greg Cannella, and Jason Miller, and Chris Gabrielli. And so I got in with that group because of Coach Mangan. And then I went to Hartford, and I got to be with Coach Lawrence, and I started meeting all his friends. And, you know, he started NXT. So I got tight with all the NXT guys, with Brett Manny and all those guys down in Philly. So those relationships really started growing. And they opened up doors for me up in that area of the state, in that area of the country, and learning different recruiting areas because of what Coach Lawrence wanted as opposed to what I was used to. High school coaches, prep school coaches, club coaches, you know, and then here I am, and now I'm at Sacred Heart, and I'm 7 years in, and I hang out with Bobby Valentine. And for those of you who don't know who Bobby Tip Valentine is, he's the single greatest athlete to ever come out of the state of Connecticut, and manager of the Mets. And I'm a huge Mets fan, so it's like Bobby Valentine is like my man, and I'm hanging out with him on a daily basis, like having lunch. It's so cool. And all the people I've met at Sacred Heart, coaches, alumni that I knew before, now I know even better now, administrators, you know, and those people too along the way. Like, I became friends with all my administrators at every school I was at. So whenever I needed something, they would be like, whatever you need, I got your back. And so if I needed something, I call them, and they'd be like, yeah, resume, got it. If you want me to call this person, got it. Like, Coach Tierney's on the phone with Bobby Valentine for 2 hours trying to convince him to give me the job. And that only came from all the effort that I put into working his camps. And like, I remember when I was at Lafayette one Tuesday night, they played UPenn, I'm sorry, but they beat the absolute poop out of UPenn. Sorry, man. No offense. I don't know if you were there, but and after the game, I'm hanging out with Messi. We're getting something to eat, and it's like 10 o'clock at night. And he's like, "Well, what are you doing now?" I'm like, "I was just gonna go home, go to sleep." And he goes, "I'm going to break down film for whoever we play next. Do you want to hang out?" We were in his office till 4 a.m. breaking down film, and like I didn't even realize it. I'm like, "Oh shit, I gotta go home." And so like I end up getting back to my house at like 5 a.m., sleeping for a couple of hours and going to work. But it's like I spent 5 hours in a room with Dave Metzbauer breaking down film. The amount I learned in that 5 hours, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like it was ridiculous.
Yeah. So it sounds like, your path was filled with networking and, building up your contacts and learning as much as you can along the way. And, that quote you mentioned, you learned about earlier this quarantine, about being your best self and bettering yourself. Yeah. As we're sitting here, the kids are learning at home and having a lot of extra free time. What kind of skills and drills and things should our kids be working on? Whether it's at the youth level or the high school level, what should these guys be working on during the quarantine here?
This whole group of athletes right now is in such a strange place because they're so used to, like I looked at the other night, we're sitting in our house and my older son, Tyler, who you know very well, is on the couch just watching TV, scrolling through his phone. It's like 6:30 at night. And I'm like, you want to know something crazy? If we were in real life right now and this stuff wasn't going on, he'd still be at school. He'd probably just be getting home from practice. So, and then he'd probably be up in his room doing his homework. And so it's like, it's nuts to know like the way things are going on, but it's given these kids from what's been taken away, they've also been given kind of a gift. And that gift is the opportunity to really work on themselves, whether it's mentally, physically, socially, really try to get in touch with themselves and realize what they want to be and who they want to be. And some people are going to do that and do very well with it. Some people are going to struggle. Like I struggle with this. As you can tell, I'm a very social individual. Like I need to be able to see people and talk to people and hang out with people. And so like for the first couple of weeks, this was hard on me until I realized that I could use this time to make myself better. And that's what kids can do right now. There's so many drills that they can go to, like for our guys. What we spent a lot of time on in the beginning of it was being better mentally, being better as far as being more concentrating on being more process oriented, not result oriented. Right now, that's all you can be is process oriented. And what I mean by that is really working on your individual skills, stick work, ground balls, shooting. That's all stuff the kids can do on their own. Whether it's they have a friend that they're allowed to stand 6 feet apart from somebody you have a catch. Like you can stand 6 feet apart from somebody and they feed you. Like there's all these different drills that people can do with each other, but also all you need is a ball, your stick, and a wall, and you can get great. You can become an awesome individual and a great player. And the confidence that's going to give kids going forward is, it's like I take my son Dom, we were lucky enough to be part of that team and to go to Denver last year, and what a great experience that was for him and our family. And the one thing Dom struggles with, which I can't understand, is his confidence. I think he's a tremendous lacrosse player, and yes, I'm his dad, so of course I'm going to say that. But as a coach, I think he's got unbelievable skills. The kid picked it up like that, like it was easy for him. But his confidence is not the best. So he's been spending time on wall ball to get his stick better. So now he's like, it's easy for him. So he's not thinking about it. So now when he steps up and he starts playing against somebody, that he's going to just catch the ball, split, throw it lefty subconsciously. He's not thinking about doing it. So now his subconscious, because his subconscious is doing that, his brain is working. And it's scientifically proven that when your brain is working, you're going to become more creative. And so now he's seeing things when we're doing shooting drills that I've never seen him do before. Like Coach Doctor brought him out on the field a few weeks ago and was like, do this. And he just did it because he wasn't thinking about, okay, I got to catch it. Then I got to split and I got to do this. He was just doing all that stuff naturally. And he could pick up that next step so much quicker than he could before because it was subconscious and he had so much confidence in his stick work, and that's what kids can work on right now. And I know as I'm going to say we, because as Eclipse, we're going to do a ton of stuff on YouTube for these guys, and that's great. But there's so many opportunities. There's so many things on YouTube that kids can go and check out. Wall ball drills, stick work drills, shooting drills. They can just jump on, look, just type it into the search thing in YouTube, and boom, there it is.
Yep.
Everything that you can possibly want. It's sick, man. We live in such a cool time.
Yeah, and I think, going along with what you're saying is this summer, or, when we get back out there, we're playing lacrosse, the guys that put in the work and put in the time, I think they're going to feel more rewarded than ever, right? They're able to improve their game and move ahead and advance, at a quicker rate over the springtime, because the guys that really put in the work, they're far and ahead of the guys that haven't been putting in the work. And thinking about the high school guys that have, lost their seasons, but are heading into the recruiting process, and we're going to use this summer and the upcoming summer and fall to be recruited. What do you guys at Sacred Heart, what do you look for when you're recruiting players? Aside from they've got to be a good lacrosse player and talented, on the lacrosse field.
Well, Coach, unfortunately, I can't tell you exactly what I look for because that's illegal. However, what I can tell you is what we can just kind of talk about. So I'll just talk about like recruiting and like what coaches, just in my perspective on what anybody would want to see from any athlete, and just kind of touching on what we talked about a little bit. The other thing that this is doing, which nobody realized, is it's giving kids a break. Think about how much lacrosse a lot of these kids have played over there, and just athletics these kids have had to deal with over their last X amount of years. This is a time their bodies are healing, but at the same time, they're missing playing. And when you miss playing, that jacks up your compete level. And so now when you get back on that field, people are going to be running like mad dogs. It's going to be awesome. The lacrosse that we're going to see, I truly believe, when we get back to this, is going to be some of the best lacrosse we've ever seen, because kids are so hungry to play, and they're also so fresh. They're not after going right from a summer of lacrosse playing at 700-degree heat at UMass, right to a football season, right to a basketball season, or a hockey season, right to lacrosse season, then right back into summer season. Their bodies are being able to heal, and maybe they're getting bigger, faster, stronger. Maybe they're doing CrossFit. See that? I just threw that in there. Maybe they're putting their bodies in a position to be more explosive. So they're going to be ready to go. Like, I think we're going to see some tremendous lacrosse when and if this, which I think this is all going to just stop. Before you know it, it's going to be like that. And we're going to be back on the field. And so, like, you have to tell yourself that to keep yourself sane, right? But, like, that also goes into what a good student athlete can be is you got to be hungry. And we could see that. One of the things that drives me crazy that me and my wife battled with our boys when they first moved in with us, as you know, they were adopted 4 years ago, is the whole mindset of that guy's a try-hard. That guy's a try-hard. Like, what? That's such BS, man. The tryhards are the All-Americans. The tryhards are like the dudes that are making millions of dollars in the pros. The tryhards are the dudes that are winning national championships that you're going to watch all day on Saturday on ESPNU in the championship game. Like, you were a tryhard, and you went to UPenn. You went to UPenn. Lacrosse helped you get in there, but you tried hard in school. You tried hard on the field, and you turned yourself into a tremendous lacrosse player and a tremendous student and a tremendous individual because you tried hard. You cared, because it's cool to care. The dude that's on the sideline, like, yeah, man, like, I'm a lax bro. Nobody wants that guy. We want guys, and coaches want guys that are going to give everything of themselves every time they step on the field. And it doesn't matter if they're playing for Eclipse. It doesn't matter if they're playing for Staples or New Canaan or Darien or Sacred Heart. It doesn't matter. Or Notre Dame, West Haven, where Tyler goes to school. It doesn't matter. They're going to give everything they have for that team at that particular time. And coaches can see that. Coaches watch when they come off the field. It's like, I watch my son's teammates when I'm not coaching. I watch how they react and how they respond. And I'm like, I don't want that guy. I don't want that guy. I want that guy. I don't want that guy. Like, that's what coaches want. Coaches want to see the guy that's willing to give everything, and that's a good teammate. And those guys are the tryhards. Those guys are the guys that are going to give effort, because you control two things in your life. when it comes to sports, your attitude and your effort. If you show up every day with a great attitude, like you want to be there, you want to have fun, you want to get better, and you give effort, you're going to be successful. You're going to be successful. There's no way that it's not going to happen. You may not play at Duke, you know, or a top 2 or 3 school in the country, but you're going to play at a very high level. You're going to get a degree, and guess what? You're going to get a job, and you're going to make money, and you're going to be able to provide for yourself and your family. And that's what this is all about. Whether you're a professional lacrosse player, professional athlete or not, like, we're all in this to do well and to be successful and to graduate. That's why we work hard, so we can give ourselves the best opportunity to go to the best possible school and use lacrosse to try to help us get there. But none of that's going to happen if you're walking around like a jerk and you're acting like an idiot off the field, and you're acting like an idiot on the field. And it's like you score a goal and it's like, oh, it's great, you scored another goal. You don't know when your next goal is going to happen. Perfect example of what we're dealing with now. Yeah. Nobody knew that our last game was going to be against Providence. Nobody knew that. We're preparing for Mount St. Mary's to get ready for our conference, like getting all jacked up, like conference season, here we go. And then like that, it's over. Yeah. Nobody knew that.
Yeah, no, that's awesome advice. You know, I think the kids, whether they're in high school or in youth programs, you know, can really, you know, take this time, like you said, they're taking off a little bit and reset, and they can figure out and think about, like, who do I want to be? Where do I want to go? And what's it going to take to get there, and commit to doing what they believe it takes. We'll wrap up.
It's all about perspective. You know, it's all about perspective. You can even either look at the situation and be like, this is terrible, it sucks. Or you can be like, you know what? It sucks, but it is what it is. Everybody's dealing with it. So we got to hunt the good here. We got to hunt the good. We got to see what can we do here to make us better, to make me better, to make my life better. Spending time with my family. I'm building stuff. I'm like Bob the Builder right now. It's just sick. Right. Like, it's cool.
Very nice, Coach. We'll wrap it up with one last question here. I know you talked about Bobby Valentine. He's one of your big fan of his as the athletic director over there. But what's your favorite part about coaching at Sacred Heart?
My guys. I think my guys are my favorite part. Being able to be there every day with those kids and the effort that they give us is just, it's hard. It's hard to describe. Like, when I'm standing there in front of them and I know that I got 45 sets of eyes locked in on me, and they're not locked in on me just because if they don't, they're going to get in trouble. They're locked in on me because they believe what I'm telling them and they trust me. And like, to have that, that power is very strong. And it's very, and it can send people, it's like any other type of power. It can put somebody down the wrong path, or it can help make somebody better. And it's always been my responsibility, and it's always been my mindset to never abuse this power, because I have 45 people that depend on me. More than that, I have 50 something people every day that depend on me to set a direction and set a course. And if I don't take that seriously, something's going to happen that's not good for those people. And I couldn't live with that. And my guys and our guys are so into it. Like, they trust everything we're going to say, and they know that we don't do anything just to do it. Everything we do has a purpose, and everything we do has a reason, because we do it because we care about them. Whether it's we're telling them to get down on a ground ball, or to shoot the ball 3/4 instead of sidearm, or to now practice shooting sidearm and underhand because they're going to do it anyway. They might as well be great at it. Like, we're doing it because we want them to be great. And why do we give them sick gear? Because I'm a gearhead. I love gear. They love gear. Let's give them gear. Why do we stay in great hotels? Because I want them to be comfortable the night before the game. Why do we eat at Amici's when we go to Baltimore? Because it's the best restaurant, I think, in Little Italy. Forget about it, right? That's all I need to say.
No,
that's most
awesome.
of you will understand what that means. Forget about it. But, and so I miss my guys. I miss spending time with them. I miss being on the field with them. I miss being on the bus with them. I miss being in the office with them and just kind of just talking to them and hanging out with them. And like, that's part of the relationships, right? Like, those relationships that I got to build with them. And I miss that every day.
Yeah, for sure. And, I think you're doing a great job at Sacred Heart, talking about your culture and the environment you're creating and what you're building there. I know a handful of guys who've come through the program, who've done some coaching with us or have helped out in the past. All those guys speak very highly of you and, are great young men, which obviously is a reflection on what you guys are doing there and how you're helping these kids grow. And, enter the real world. So you guys should be very proud of that. Definitely appreciate you coming on and chatting with us and, giving us another perspective, as you said. So thanks, Coach. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.